We're just going to give it a couple seconds here before we begin. Just give it a couple seconds here. Okay, so it's 6 o'clock and we're going to begin our webinar. I hope everyone could see my screen here. I have two screens, so I'm just showing, okay, perfect. I got a feedback that you can see the presentation here. Perfect. So my name is Lindy Ann. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lindy Ann Ephraim, and I am the student advisor within the Faculty of Nursing. And I have co-presenting here with me today, Emily Renwick, who is the Enrollment Services Advisor. She just gave a wave there. So before we begin, we do have to do a land acknowledgement. So I would like to acknowledge this opportunity, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in Southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, the Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chenectadi, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The City of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. Okay, so an overview of the agenda here. So we're going to talk about registration terminology, choosing courses, how to register for courses, a few resources that are available, or a couple of resources that are available, so getting help. And we're going to give a bit of an opportunity to do a Q&A at the end. So keep in mind that this session is being recorded. And so during this time while we are presenting, that we do ask that you keep your mics muted and make notes of any questions that you have for the end, okay? So moving on here. So registration terminology. So these are things that you will need to come across as you're beginning to register for courses, and it's important to know so you don't get stuck when registering for courses. And the first thing that you would really want to know is the enrollment appointment. So what that entails is that it's the date and time in which you are to register for your courses. And so when you log into your student portal, on the homepage there, you will see that there is an enrollment appointment. Again, that's the start and end, that's the start of which you are to register for courses. So the date and time you are to register. And below you will see that there are, specific dates. So for first year students like yourself, new students, there is a range. It's from May 5th to the 7th, 2021. But as I mentioned before, everyone has a specific date and time they are to register, and you are to find that in your student portal or student center. For transfer students, it's different. It's April 5th. But for continuing students, the registration date is March 22nd to 26th. As you progress in your program, so the more you advance in your nursing program, the more credits you will accumulate. That would push your enrollment appointment date a little bit earlier, because that is giving you time to take up the courses that you need to wrap up your program or to graduate. But for now, keep in mind that your registration dates aren't available as yet. You are to register between May 5th and May 7th, and you all have a unique enrollment appointment and date and time. So do check out your student center to know when your enrollment appointment date is. But as of right now, as you can see, it's March 8th was when you could view the schedule and add courses to your shopping cart. So you can do that right now, but you can't register. Okay. So important terminology. So these would include requisites and restrictions. So course restrictions refer to courses that are reserved for students who are admitted to a specific program or a particular major. So those restrictions will tell you who could register for the courses and when. You may need to wait for the restriction to expire before you can register in some of those courses. And restrictions in courses will be indicated by a purple star in the course search with a brief description in Schedule Builder. So do pay attention to that. There are certain courses, you know, if you find a course that you find that is of interest to you and you see that there is a restriction, there may be an end date or a time in which it will expire. So there are opportunities, or there may be opportunities in which you can waitlist for those courses first. And when the restriction expires, then you can go ahead and register for those courses. But yeah, pay attention to that, because that could tell you, or is an indicator as to whether you can register on those courses or not. Usually those descriptions will include what the course is restricted to or which program is restricted to. So for example, if the course is a marketing course or a business course, it will have in the description that it's only restricted to students in the Haskayne School of Business. And as I mentioned before, there may be a specific end date or expiration as to when those courses will become available to everyone. Prerequisites. So this is a course or courses that you must complete before you can enroll in a given course. If a course is specified as a prerequisite, you must achieve a passing grade in that prerequisite before you can take the course, unless a specific grade is indicated, in which you need to achieve at least the grade or that grade. So prerequisites are listed in the course description when registering on your student center and in the academic calendar course description. So you can find that, as I mentioned, in your student center, it'll have a description below in the course, or in the academic calendars, it will, you know, outline what prerequisites you will need. Sometimes it says, you know, the prerequisite could be chemistry 30 or bio 30 or math 30, but as you advance into a higher level course, then the prerequisites would be junior level courses. So those are the 200 level courses. So do pay attention to that. Anti-requisites, so courses, those are courses that cannot be taken for credit because they're too similar to each other. So that means that the content has overlapping information or overlapping content. So be wary of those. And co-requisites, those are courses that can be taken at the same time because the content is complementary. You won't really be seeing those in your first year of nursing, or well, first year of the nursing program. You will more be seeing that as you start your second year onward. So that's when in your second year, you'll be taking primarily nursing courses, and those courses are needed to be taken with each other, so complementary. So on to some more important terminology. So those would be, include course components. So some of you may have already started playing around or looking at what the courses are, and you see that there are different components involved. So you will normally see that with science courses or language courses, in which there's a lecture, a lab, and a tutorial. So a lecture is the main instructional component of a course, where instructors introduce and work through the topics of the course, whereas a lab is more of the applied version, in which it's a secondary instructional component of the course, where you can apply the knowledge that you've gained from the lecture in a lab setting. And those lab settings are often smaller than the lecture. So you'll be you will register for different groups or a different group that is assigned to the lecture. And then tutorials is another secondary instructional component of a course, where you can ask questions, discuss course and reading material, and receive additional assistance. So those are typically run by a teaching assistant, or sometimes the instructor himself or themselves will run the tutorial. So some other important terminology regarding course delivery options. For example, you'll need to know about multi-term courses, synchronous, asynchronous, and blended. So multi-term courses run over both the fall and winter terms, You must register for the course in each term and also enroll in the same class section. And multi-term courses are usually indicated or identified as A. So you'll take the A component in the fall, while you'll take the B component in the winter term. So you might find that, for example, with a music course, you might have to take one component and then continue it onwards in the next semester. And a music course was just an example. Synchronous, so a component that is scheduled at a specific time or specific times. You must participate or engage at the scheduled times that is presented or provided, whereas an asynchronous course is a component that is not scheduled at a specific time. Therefore, you may engage with the course material at a time that is convenient to you. A blended course is a little bit different in that it means that both the course will be in person, as well as there will be online meetings involved. So just an overview of course delivery options. So next, we're going to be talking about registration actions. And those are also particularly important, especially when it comes to registering for your courses. So for one, you need to add the course. And adding a course means that you're going to be adding something that is completely new to your schedule. It's a new course, you're adding it to your schedule, and you're going to keep adding those courses that you need for your program. Dropping a course means that you'll be completely removing a course from your schedule. So it's no longer going to be in your schedule. It's not going to be on your transcripts. You don't have to pay for it. That's what dropping means. You don't have any sort of tuition owing for that course when you remove it or drop it completely from your schedule. Swapping a course means really you're just trading or substituting one for the other. Whereas editing, you're going to be changing the subcomponent of a course, such as a lab or tutorial, while leaving the main component of the course, which is typically the lecture, unchanged. Withdrawal and drop tend to be used interchangeably. So I think that's also important to know or differentiate what withdrawal means. So withdrawal usually occurs after the drop deadline, and the drop function allows you to withdraw from a class up until the last day or last day of classes for the term. When you withdraw from a course, what appears in your transcript is a W. It's not included in your GPA calculation, and it doesn't impact you generally in the program. Waitlists. So these are the do's and don'ts of waitlists. I would say if a course is full, you may be able to join a waitlist and wait for a seat to open up. If this functionality is available. So not all the courses have waitlists involved, but if a seat opens up, you'll be automatically filled by the next student on the waitlist. So you'll be automatically placed into the course if a seat opens up. Waitlists do not guarantee, however, that you'll get the course. It doesn't guarantee a spot. And what we usually recommend to students that if you see that the course is full or absolutely full, have a backup plan in mind. Especially if you see that there are 20 people on the wait list and probably just 10 seats available, that doesn't guarantee anything. So it's good to have a backup plan. So now we're going to go into the next section, which is choosing your courses. And I've received a lot of emails from students inquiring, well, what's the next step? What courses do I take? And it's great that you want to know all of that information. And being here gives you that opportunity to know that. So choosing courses would involve, all of the required courses. Some of you may have already gone through the degree holder or the degree guide that outlines all of the courses, but to go over them with you once more, these are all of the required courses that you would need for your first year as a direct entry student. So you have Kinesiology 259 and Kinesiology 260, and you really need to register into Lecture 2 because that's specifically reserved for nursing students. Then there is Academic Writing 303, Statistics 205 or 213. Then there's the philosophy option, and we do have some recommendations as well. So you can either take Philosophy 249, 259, 313, 347. Either one of those options. If you see another philosophy option that you see and that might be of interest to you and it's available and it's not restricted, then you can by all means go ahead and register for that course as well. We just need you to have a philosophy option. On top of those 5 required courses, you do need to take 5 additional open option courses. Now, we do say that science and psychology are recommended, but it's not required. So if you really have a great interest in science, then by all means register for a science course. Or if you are curious about psychology courses, by all means register for psychology courses, but those are not required. The 5 additional open option courses is really an opportunity for you to explore your interests. And when I say explore your interests, if you have a general interest, let's say in traveling or in languages, take a language course. We have Spanish, we have French, we have German even. It's a great opportunity to really explore your interests, because after first year of nursing, once you get into your second year onwards, you're going to be taking purely nursing courses, and there won't be any opportunities for you to, explore other interests outside of nursing. So use those 5 additional options to explore your interests and learn more about yourself. The first year degree guide is also a good tool or resource for you to identify what options are available for you for your first year, as well as the academic calendar is a great reference tool for all students. I did provide the link for you to check out. It does list all of the courses that are available at the University of Calgary, as well as in that link, or when you click on the individual courses and see the subjects available, you'll be able to see a bit of the description as well as the prerequisites for those courses. So do check those 2 out when you get a chance. So this is a bit of a table of what your schedule may look like. So when I was talking about prerequisites, I was really talking also about the Kinesiology 259 and the Kinesiology 259, which is a prerequisite to Kinesiology 260. So you do need to register for Kinesiology 259 in order to take Kinesiology 260. Now I have Stats 205, Stats 213 in the fall, but you can also take it in the winter term if you don't want to take it in the fall term. So that's why I put or option. You can take Stats 205 or Stats 213 in the fall, or you can take it in the winter. I also have Academic Writing 303 for the winter. That's the only time you can take that course, and it is a required course. So register for it once registration opens. It is a required course that you need in order to progress to year 2. The same goes for like philosophy option or other option. Like I said, for the Stats 205, Stats 213, you can either take it in the fall or you can take it in the winter. And then you have open options that you can take that you would have to take in the fall and winter term. So this is just a table. There's a table similar to that in the first year degree guide. So, you don't have to copy it. You can also refer to the first year degree guide to see that table as well. So transfer credit, IB, AP courses, I won't go into heavily about that because that's mostly something that's done through admissions. But to give you a general idea, so IB, AP courses, IB or AP students can receive advanced credit in approved courses. In the case of the advanced credit, a grade of a CR will be recorded on the student's record. Official AP or IB transcripts are required as part of the evaluation process. So that's done by admissions, the evaluation process. And if the advanced credit is awarded for a 200 level course, that is a prerequisite for a 300 level course, there will be opportunities for you to register for a 300 level course. So what that means in our case, so I mentioned or went over the required courses that you'll need. So overall, you need 10 courses, which include those required or mandatory courses in order to advance or progress to year 2. Now, if the AP or IB courses have been posted to your account, you're welcome to drop an option course, but bear in mind that if you take less than 15 credits per semester, you will not be eligible for the dean's list. So you do need to have 15 credits per term to be considered for the dean's list, as well as you need to have 3.6 GPA overall per term in order to advance or to be considered for the dean's list as well. So keep that in mind. So next we're going to move into how to register, and Emily Rennick will be presenting on this.
All right, so now that you guys know what courses you're going to be taking, we're going to dive into this section. If you want to go to the next slide for me. Yeah, so just to start off, we do have a lot of resources on the website. So there is a ton of resources on the registrar's website about, how to register, initial first steps, getting into your account, if you're new to the university, what to expect, and all those sorts of resources. So always a great place to start. There's links in this presentation, and also Google is a great tool where you can just Google UC registration, and usually it pops right up on Google. So that's usually what I recommend if you don't remember the full link from today. And you'll notice right at the top, as you can see in this screenshot, there's a registration page right there. There's also these things that we have called how-to guides. And so these are basically like step-by-step instructions on how to do various tasks. So there's one on how to add a course, there's one on how to swap a course, there's one on how to drop a course. So if you don't remember stuff from today's presentation, and we might not go in as much detail, there's always the how-to guides. They're located on the website on the top tab under Student Center, which is what your student account is called. And then there's a tab, a little button called How-To Guides, and there's a whole list of different things on there. So that's always a helpful tool as well. And then this is your Student Center. So like I mentioned, you have a student account with us. Right now, if you're just in the application phase and haven't accepted an offer or paid a deposit, you might not have access to all this stuff yet. Once your deposit payment has been received, you will gain access to the home page, to a bunch of different pages on here. The one we're going to focus on here is the home page, because that's where a lot of the registration actions are located. So as you can see at the top, you can look for your enrollment appointment. So that's the time you can enroll. Just below that, there's a couple of tools for registering, which we'll go into in just a moment. One of them is called Course Search, where you can basically search for courses one by one. And the other one is called Schedule Builder. Schedule Builder allows you to build a schedule all at once and look at your schedule kind of in a more visual format. And then just below that, you can also see courses you've added to your shopping cart. Your shopping cart isn't fully enrolled. It's just a placeholder. So you can basically view the schedule and add courses into the shopping cart to wait until your enrollment date. So today, if you've already paid your deposit, you could log in, you could plan out your schedule, add them to the shopping cart, just to make it easy so that on your enrollment date, you can just hit that enroll button and hopefully get into some of your courses, as long as they still have seats available. And then just below that shopping cart, you can also see any courses you've already enrolled in. So once you process enrollment, you can just double check and make sure that you've actually registered on this page here. And then one last thing I want to point out before we move on, I know it's a lot of info, but there's a lot of different quick links at the bottom of this page that will become useful once you become a student. Things like your academic requirements report, which provides details on what you're going, like what courses you're going to need to complete later on in your upper years, your tax forms, those kinds of things that will become important later on, as well as D2L, which is where the course content is typically located. So the quick links bar is also a really crucial part of your student experience, and it's something to write down for later once you get registered. So before we actually get into registration, there's one crucial step that you'll have to do. It's called account initialization, and you will have to do this every single year that you're a student with us. And basically all it is just confirming that your personal information is still accurate. So your address, your emergency contacts, your phone number, we just want to confirm that all that information is still accurate. So when you log into the home page, you'll scroll down, and just above where you see your shopping cart, you'll see a semester. Just make sure you're on one of the upcoming semesters there. And then under enrolled courses, if you haven't initialized yet, you'll see this small message they can see on the screen right now. You have not completed your registration initialization. Please click here to complete. Once you click on that little button, it will just pop up with your various personal information. You can either click confirm going through it, or you can edit it on the spot. Once that's done and it's all confirmed, you're ready to start your registration process. So the first tool we'll jump into is Schedule Builder. I personally prefer this when initially building a schedule, just because you can view all of your courses on one screen. You're able to see your schedule as a whole. It's basically a tool where you input each course name. So for example, if you're building your fall schedule, you could start with some of your required courses like that Kinesiology 259. You do have to enter in the course's 4-letter code. So for kinesiology, it'd be KNES space 259. You'd pop that into the search bar and click enter, and it would start by putting that first course into your schedule. Then you can begin adding other courses. So you could add in the stats course, either the stats 205 or the, I believe it was 213 that you're required to take. So then you can type in stats 205, see where it fits in with your other courses so far. You can start typing in your different courses, and once you have a full schedule, at the top of the page, it will show the potential results, like how many different schedule combinations are available with those 5 courses that you've inputted or 4 courses that you've inputted. So from there, you'll be able to scroll through and kind of pick out a schedule that works best for your time and what you want to get out of your studies. You can even filter through. If you prefer evening classes, you can ask it to filter for mostly evening classes. If you prefer morning classes, you can ask it to try and generate morning schedules. So there's a lot of really cool tools that Schedule Builder can do. And then you can actually enroll directly through Schedule Builder as well. So if it's before your enrollment date like it is right now, you'll be able to add to the shopping cart. There's a little button kind of at the bottom corner that allows you to click do actions, and then you can add to the shopping cart right through here. And then once it comes time for your enrollment appointment, you can actually click enroll right in here as well. If you want to see this a little bit more visually rather than me just talking about it, we also do have videos on our website where they walk you through step by step the different things you can do in Schedule Builder to build a schedule and use the tool. So I would really recommend watching those videos before you dive in. And then even today after this session, you could start playing around with your schedules and see what you come up with. At the bottom of this slide here, there's also a really crucial tip that some students don't realize. You can actually begin registering for both the upcoming fall 2021 semester and winter 2022 semester right away here. So on your enrollment date from May 5th to 7th, you should hopefully enroll for both of those schedules right at once. You will have to do them separately. So you'll have to start by building a fall schedule and then build a winter one. But definitely don't leave your winter one until January or something, because classes do fill up. So it's better to do it sooner rather than later and plan those schedules in advance. And then the other tool that we have is Course Search. You can also enroll directly through here. It's just a different way of enrolling. So it does the same results as a Schedule Builder in the end. It's just a different way of visualizing it and a different tool you can use. The reason why I personally don't love using Course Search right from the start and why we typically don't recommend it is because it allows you to search courses one by one. So you would have to search for, say, Kinesiology 259, and it would pull up a list of all the different Kinesiology 259 offerings and what times they're at. And then you could pick one, but you don't know how it fits with your other courses. So you don't know how it fits with statistics, for example. So when you're building an initial schedule, it can be kind of tough to visualize that on your own. So you can definitely use this tool if you find it easier, if you find it works better for you. But that's typically why we recommend Schedule Builder to start. The nice thing about this tool, though, is it is a lot easier to drop a course using this tool. So in Schedule Builder, it's really tough because you're kind of playing around with multiple courses as once, and it can be easy to accidentally drop a course you don't want to in Schedule Builder. So we typically recommend that if you're going to drop a course, it might just be better to do it through here and just click the drop button and choose the one course that you want to drop. If you do use this tool, when you click on course search, it opens up a search bar where you can enter in the semester you're looking at. So fall 2021, for example, you'll enter in the course name. So again, if it's kinesiology, it'd be KNES, and then you'd enter in the course number again, so 259. And then you click search and it just generates a whole list of all of those potential dates and times when it's offered at. With this one, again, if you're more of a visual learner, you want to walk through it step by step. There's a how-to guide to use on this tool. And so it would walk you through with pictures on each step on how to use the course search button. And then the one other really cool feature we have is the validate shopping cart. So if it's not yet time for you to register and you've added a bunch of courses into your shopping cart, and you want to just make sure that you're going to get in, you're not going to get any error messages, you can click on this little button. It looks a little bit different depending on which tool you're using. So on the left, you can see it in Schedule Builder, it's a big white button. It almost doesn't look like a button, but it is. And then in Course Search, it's the red Validate Add Submit button. So on there, if you click on either of those, it allows you to see if you'll successfully enroll when it comes time to enroll, or if you're going to get an error message. So it will check and see if, say, you are not meeting the prerequisite, like you tried to enroll in kinesiology 260 before taking 259, it would show you that you're going to get an error message because you haven't taken the prerequisite 259. If you were not within the restriction, it could potentially check that. So one thing to note is validating your shopping cart doesn't actually enroll you. So it's just a tool to get you set up so that when it's your enrollment appointment, you're going to enroll without any errors and you're going to get into those courses. So definitely make sure that if you do validate your shopping cart, you're still logging in to enroll on your enrollment appointment. And so if you have more questions, you want to get more help, there's a lot of different resources available at the University of Calgary. So I work for the Enrollment Services team, and our role in registration is to help resolve any errors that come up. So if you do validate your shopping cart and get a weird error message that you're not really understanding, or you try to register and at that point you're getting an error message, we do have a page on our website with common error messages and their meanings. And if you're still not figuring it out, just feel free to give us a call. Our advisors are totally happy to help with any errors that come up. We're open typically most weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So happy to help that way. We do also have an email address, but it's a little bit slower response time. So typically we're recommending that you call in if you run into an urgent error message.
Okay, so advising support. So each faculty has program advisors you can speak to about course planning, course selection, registration, program progression, and more. So I'm the student advisor within the Faculty of Nursing, so you can always email and reach out if you have any questions or concerns. There's also the Student Success Center that provides a lot of great resources or support. So it offers supports like academic support, learning support, programs, and much more. So definitely check that out. It's a great way to it's a great resource to have and become familiar with, especially if you're new to the University of Calgary or new to university in general. And then, as I mentioned before, if you have any additional questions or concerns, if you're not quite sure of something, always reach out. It's better to reach out than to wait and have something snowball into something bigger than it should be. So many of you have already done that and reached out. Our email address is nursing@ucalgary.ca. We typically take about 2 to 3 business days to respond to emails, but we also have a Zoom feature as well, or drop-in Zoom for the time being, as we're all working remotely. This is something that we've been utilizing for students who want to ask questions or speak to someone like myself. If you want to have a drop-in session, which we have regularly from Monday to Friday, then just send us an email to nursing@ucalgary.ca, and we can always chat about or discuss certain questions that you have. Also an FYI, because I have been getting some questions about that, we will be sending out the admissions package sometime in mid-June. So the admissions package is something that will outline all of the documents that you need. So that would be the police check, orientation forms, the student handbook, things that you need to familiarize or sign or complete before the start of the program. Don't jump on it right now. Do wait for the admission package to be sent out, because there is a certain timeline in which, or specific time frame that you need to have your police checks done. Wait until you get those admission packages and then start the process. And as I mentioned, it'll be sent around mid-June. So do keep an eye out that. It'll be sent through email. We also have new student registration assistance. So if you're unsure if the schedule you've generated needs adjusting, you need help choosing courses, the new student registration assistants are a great resource to have. These are students who are already at the University of Calgary, who've been through, the whole registration process and have an understanding of what it's like to be a new student. So they will be able to work with you and provide support one-on-one, where they can teach you how to build your schedule and how to navigate the registration system. So I did provide the link. You can also just search it up on the UCalgary website, so NSRA, or New Student Registration Assistance, and that will be beginning in May. So do check it out if you're not quite sure about what to do as you're new to the program. So this brings us to the end of our presentation, and we're now just going to open up the chat. If you have any questions about what was discussed about the registration, this will be a great time to ask your questions. We do have a chat feature where you can type in, ask your questions, and then we also have Emily Lockyer, who is the program specialist and admissions officer here with us, who will be assisting with the chat. So feel free to throw in some questions there, and we'll take the time to answer them. We'll give about 5 minutes for that. Okay, so we have someone that sent a screenshot.
I've just opened it up. We aren't able to provide specific advising on individual questions tonight. If you have specific questions about courses or schedules you've created, that's really something you need to email to us.
Thanks, Emily. Any other questions?
Oh, we've got a couple questions here. We have someone asking how many spaces are left in the program. Still waiting to hear back. So the admissions is handled primarily through the admissions office and the registrar's office, not through the Faculty of Nursing. So we can't say exactly how many spaces are left. We've got lots of offers out, and we're not sure how many people are going to accept at this point. So not able to comment on that. Next question, someone's asking, what if I can't register for a course that is required for nursing?
I can answer that. So generally those courses, so for example, statistics, kinesiology courses, those and academic writing, those courses, there are sections that are specifically restricted for nursing students. So remember how I was talking about there is course restrictions. There is an end date for that. So what I would suggest, strongly encourage you, is that as soon as registration opens, ensure that you're registering for your courses, because there's only a certain time limit in which you can register, and after that time, then it's open for everyone. So make sure you're registering for those courses right away so that you can ensure that you're getting the spots or courses that you need.
I'll just add on to that. So it's typically late July that the restrictions come off. So register before late July and you should get a seat in everything that you need. Next question, are there any options that are recommended for first-year nursing students or options that are commonly taken to fill open option requirements?
So I can answer that one. There isn't a recommended course or courses for first-year students. This is primarily an opportunity for students to really explore or expand on their interests. Adding on to, the commonly taken to fill up open option, there is one that I could throw out there, which is Greek and Roman Studies 211. That is quite a popular course for first-year nursing students. Not saying that you have to take it, but it's generally a course that students are interested in because it has some medical terminologies. But generally, it's really up to you to pick the courses or open option courses that you wish to take that are of interest to you.
Right. Is academic writing reserved for nursing students?
Yes, there is a section that is specifically reserved for nursing students at the University of Calgary. There are other sections, but that's for students in Qatar, so you don't register into that one. But there is one reserved for academic writing students, and you have to take that primarily in the winter term. That's the only time it's available.
Right, it actually is nursing and community rehab. So the Bachelor of Community Rehab and Disability Studies students will be in that course with you. But it is a web-based course all the time, regardless of anything else going on. That course is always web-based. Are there any specific science courses that you would recommend?
There really isn't. I mean, we do say sciences. So when we say sciences, we're referring to biology or chemistry. But really, you don't have to have or take a science course. But if you are interested in taking one, as I mentioned, there is the academic calendar in which you can go through the courses that are available under sciences and see whether there are any prerequisites or whether you can take those courses. But really, you can take any science courses that are open or available to students.
I just add on to that along with the prerequisite restrictions in the calendar, you may see registration restrictions in the schedule builder on a lot of the science courses. A lot of them will have restrictions until July for students in science majors because they need those courses for their program. But typically those come down kind of late July, early August, and you could potentially enroll in them after that. How do I register for nursing courses if you weren't accepted until July? So we never said you wouldn't know if you weren't accepted until July. Unfortunately, you aren't able to register until you have accepted an offer. As we said, the restrictions are on the courses until the end of July. So we do not make offers after the restrictions come down. If you get an offer, you will have the opportunity to register in all of your required courses. Do you need to pay immediately after registering for courses? I'm assuming this is in reference to tuition.
Yeah, I'm assuming that as well. So there are deadlines for tuition. Emily, you want to answer that? Yeah.
Yeah, I can answer it. It's our office who handles this. So there are fee payment deadlines every single semester. They're actually quite a ways away. So they come after the drop deadline. So the drop deadline occurs typically about a week or two after courses begin. This gives students an opportunity to swap or drop courses that aren't necessarily a good fit for them. And then after that drop deadline occurs, the fee payment deadline is typically about a week or so after that. So for the upcoming fall 2021 semester, the fee payment deadline is going to be on September 24th. So you have a long time to pay those fees. Obviously, keep in mind your admission deposit will have its own separate deadline. So just make sure you're adhering to the deadlines for your admissions deposit separately. But yeah, tuition and general fees aren't due for quite a while after you've registered. That doesn't mean you can't pay early. You definitely can. Just keep in mind that if you do make changes to your schedule, it could potentially change your fee assessment.
Awesome, thank you, Emily. Our next question is academic writing synchronous or asynchronous? I believe it is asynchronous, but it's not offered by the Faculty of Nursing. It's through the Department of Communication Studies, or Communication and Film Studies, excuse me. So I actually can't say for sure because we aren't the ones who offer it. Just give me 1 second and I can find out for you though. Yeah, it just says web-based right now, so we actually can't say for sure on that one either way. Are there any courses that would give me a better understanding of the nursing program in first year, since nursing courses don't start until second year?
I can answer that one. I would say we get that question asked a lot, and the 5 required courses is kind of to give you a foundation, or the 10 courses generally are to give you a foundation to help you adjust to the university environment. As to courses in your first year that'll help with your nursing courses in your second year, not quite. As I mentioned before, the open option courses that you are to take is an opportunity for you to really explore your interests. And once you get into your second year, term 3 is when you are kind of given a bit of, well, you're given a bit of an introduction of the nursing program or in the nursing courses. And then from then on out, you're just going to be taking nursing courses. But yeah, there isn't really any courses that we can recommend or give you. Keep in mind too that there will be a U at U Calgary event coming up on April 17th. It's a great opportunity to also pick the minds of nursing students who are currently in the program, who've been through, what you've gone through or what you're going through as well, to pick their brains and just to get an idea of what courses they took. So perhaps that would be a chance for you to find out, if there's anything that they could recommend to you.
The other thing I would just add there, in terms of getting a better understanding of the nursing program, we do have our Undergraduate Nursing Society, the UNS, and our Year 1 Nursing Council, YONC, who put on a lot of events throughout the year that will keep you connected to the faculty. They do events, they usually do an event with our dean, they usually try and do a tour of our simulation lab, things like that. So you will have opportunities to engage with the faculty, even if it's not through courses. Our next question is another question about tuition. So this will be for Emily. So if I want to register for winter courses this May, can I pay in January or I have to pay this September?
So yeah, the winter deadline is completely separate. For the winter 2022, you're right, it's not until January 28th. So you can definitely wait until that deadline to pay, and that way you'll have your schedule finalized. Typically, we recommend kind of paying at the start of the semester just so that you have your courses picked out, you have your schedule finalized. All of these deadlines I'm mentioning, just because I'm seeing the next question here, all of our dates and deadlines are listed in something called our academic calendar or academic schedule. I'll just grab the link actually because I have it pulled up here, but if you just Google it later, you can find it just by Googling U of C academic calendar, and it pops right up on Google. It's a little bit confusing to read. So on the left-hand side, you're going to be looking for the specific kind of category of date, and then it will list the term that the date is under. So you can see under registration dates, you'll see the last day to drop and the last day to withdraw. And then under tuition and refund dates, you'll see the tuition and fee payment deadline there for all the semesters that are upcoming. And this gets updated yearly. So unfortunately, we won't know the dates for future years yet, but we do have the dates posted right now for the upcoming fall 2021 and winter 2022.
All right, so our next question, and Emily may be able to help us with this one as well. What is the deadline for registering for all courses?
Yeah, so the add deadline is also listed on here. So it's by semester. So each semester has a last day where you can add a specific course. For the upcoming fall, it's on September 17th. So that would be the last day where you could add a course or swap a course.
I will just add on to that as well. Even though you can make schedule changes through to September, it is typically, I don't have the date handy, but it is typically late July or early August that those reserve caps come down, and the remaining seats that were reserved for nursing students do come open to the general student population. So especially for courses like KNES 259 and KNES 260, those spots will be taken very, very, very quickly. If you are not enrolled at that point, you are very unlikely to get a seat. So while you can make some changes, especially to your options through into September, you do need to be registered in your core nursing courses by the end of July. Next question is, what is a dean's list?
Emily, you want to answer this one? Or not Emily, Emma, you want to answer this one?
I can take this one, sure. The dean's list is it's a recognition of students who have achieved a significant academic achievement. So in the Faculty of Nursing, dean's list is calculated on 2 terms, so fall and winter. Students need to get at least a 3.6 in each of those terms, so it's not cumulative between the 2. You need a 3.6 in both terms to qualify. And you do receive a letter from the dean. You also are listed on the dean's list, which is published on our website and published physically in the professional faculties building. Next question, for the nursing program, do I have to take 5 courses per semester, or can I take less and take some in the summer?
I can take this one on. That's a really great question, and we do get that asked a lot. You don't have to take 5 courses per term. If you're worried about course load, you can spread it out into the spring and summer. We do, however, encourage you to take the core courses in the fall and winter term, especially, I mean, as I mentioned before, academic writing 303 is only offered in the winter term. Kinesiology courses are offered in the spring and summer. So there are opportunities to register for that, as well as statistics courses. Mind you, statistics courses, there's one offered in the spring, and typically one offered in the spring and one offered in the summer. And then you can spread out your open option courses in the spring and summer as well. What some students tend to do is they will take 4 courses per term and take 2 other courses in the spring and summer, just so they can spread it out a little bit. But again, you do need all 10 courses to progress to year 2. And that for us is, we will look to see generally that you complete your courses by the end of August, which is summer for us. I don't see any more questions coming in. I'll just give it about a minute. If anyone has any questions that they think of, then feel free to add it to the chat.
Oh, we do have another one. I built a schedule for my upcoming fall term, and they stated 300 seats reserved March 1st to July 29th, reserved for ... I assume that I can still take this course. So you can take that course if you are part of the group that the seats are reserved for. Because you've just got ... here. I don't know if there's seats that are reserved for nursing students, then yes, you can take that. If those seats are reserved for students in programs that aren't nursing, then you would have to wait until July 29th and see if there were still seats available after that. Is there any way to finish the nursing program at an accelerated pace?
No, you can't. So students are not permitted to switch entry routes. If you were admitted in direct entry, then you are to follow the structure of direct entry. So there's no way to accelerate it.
Okay, so if you have more specific questions about specific courses, I am going to ask that you email us. We can't really troubleshoot one specific course here tonight. If you email us the details, then we can actually take a look at it and give you some better advising. Can I register for Kinesiology 259 in the fall and 260 in the winter at the same time? Or do I have to actually take 259 first and register for 260 after I've completed 259? I tried to validate it in my shopping cart, but I got an error message. So Emily might be able to help us with that error message.
Yeah, so with validation, it is checking to see that you're actually fully enrolled in the prerequisite course. So until you actually fully enroll in 259 in the fall, you're going to receive that error message. So just make sure when you go to register on your enrollment date, you submit and enroll fully in the fall schedule first, and then right after that, you can then submit and enroll for the winter schedule, and then that error should be resolved. You're basically just receiving the error message right now because you haven't yet enrolled in Kinesiology 259.
Gonna give
Right.
it another minute here. Just gonna give it another minute. And then if we don't have any questions coming in, what I will advise is, as Emma mentioned, we do have the Nursing at UCalgary email. So if you think of a question after, then do send us an email to nursing@ucalgary.ca. If we're not the appropriate or correct department that you would need to speak to, then we do referrals. So for example, if there's a troubleshoot error that you can't figure it out, then you can always reach out to Enrollment Services. They're the best department to help you with these issues. If there's questions around tuition, that sort of thing, we can refer you as well to the other departments that are available as well. But I think we're about closed at this point because I don't see any more questions coming in. I do want to say thank you to everyone for attending. And all the best. I know coming into a new environment can be intimidating, but we are here to support you through the process, and we're always happy to help. So I want to say all the best. Looking forward. Hopefully we get to greet you in the fall in person. If not, we do have drop-in Zoom appointments available, so do utilize that as much as possible. So thank you all for attending, and have a great evening and take care. Bye everyone.